Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Neville Ambonya. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment down below. Story time. So as agreed, today I'm going to narrate a story. The story comes from the book of Acts chapter 25, or you can just read the whole of 25. The story is about Paul when he was being transported to see Caesar to seek an appeal. So in Debes, there was this young girl that could do some extraordinary things. She had an ability to foretell the future or prophesy about the future. So there were some men that were using this girl as their cash cow. They were forcing the girl to use her extraordinary ability in order for them to make money. So anytime the girl would use her extraordinary ability, she would experience excruciating pain. The pain that would send her into fainting or into a coma. So her health had deteriorated because of using this ability. And all this was because she had been possessed by an evil spirit that were making it possible for her to do those extraordinary things extraordinary things like foretelling the future and prophesying about the future. So when Paul saw this, he was really frustrated because these men were exploiting the girl. They were not doing anything good to the girl. They were not even taking care of her health. They were just using her to make money. So Paul decided to himself that he need to heal the girl. He need to cast away those evil spirits that were causing those excruciating pain to this young girl. So Paul healed the girl. He cast away the evil spirit from the young girl. So when these men saw this, they were really angry. They were really frustrated, to a point whereby they fabricated a story about Paul. They accused Paul of causing disturbance and committing murder. So it was normal for Paul to be taken to to be taken to court, whereby he was sentenced to death. So before they could execute their sentence, Paul decided to seek for an appeal. He told them that whatever they had accused him was wrong and everything was just fabrication. That he should be presented to Caesar, who was in charge of making sure that Romans were not discriminated in Debes. He was the one who would oversee that justice was served equally to Romans in Debes, or oversee their prosecutions. So the Jewish agreed, and now they decided that they are going to transport him or to sail to Rome, where they are going to present Paul to Caesar. So they arranged themselves, took 276 soldiers that were to guide this murderer. Now the murderer who was Paul. So to reach Rome, they had to cross through an ocean that was so huge. So they boarded this ship and now they started their journey. So in the ocean, they experienced a heavy storm, grievous storm that was shaking this boat. They experienced this heavy storm for 14 good days. So in these 14 good days, they are not eaten because water had flown into the boat, draining everything that was in that boat, even their food. So actually the soldiers were even complaining and actually accusing him. Now this had proved to them that Paul was actually a murderer, and that is why God wanted to punish him. So they accused him of, they say that it was his fault that God was punishing them, and that it was his fault that the boat or that they had experienced that heavy storm. So Amid all that, when Paul was in the verge of quitting, an angel appeared. So this angel came and told Paul that he should not quit and he should not give up. That the day after tomorrow, he was actually going to be presented, or he will find himself standing in front of Caesar. And that on that boat, no one was going to die because of him. So, and the angel disappeared. So Paul told the other soldiers that they should not quit. They should hold on a little, because none of them is going to die. So after all that, after the angel even strengthening them, something opposite happened. Something despicable happened. Because the ship hit a rock and it was shipwrecked into pieces. Now they fell from, now when we normally say you fall from the pan into the fire. So they fell from the pan into the fire. They fell from the boat into the water now itself. Here there was no hope. They were not seeing anything possible. But from afar away, they saw a small island. So everybody on anything that he had head on swam using, everybody had to pieces of wood. So they swam to that island and started a small fire. So when Paul was looking for sticks or firewood, he head into a stick that had a snake rolled on it. So this snake immediately left the stick and rolled itself on Paul and bit him. So when the natives in that island saw what had happened, they told the soldiers that Paul would not last even another 5 minutes. That snake was very poisonous. That venom from that snake would kill anybody in seconds. So, but Paul was driven with what the angel told him, that he should not quit, that he will stand in front of Caesar. So he just took the stick and the snake rolled on his hand, dropped the stick on the fire and shook the hand above the fire, and the snake fell into the fire and died. So the soldiers had now started pointing fingers at Paul that he was the cause of everything. And now, because they did not die in the ocean, now he has been bitten by a snake, now he's going to die. So this actually had concluded that or had proved to them that Paul was actually a murderer, and that he had actually killed someone. And that is why God was really punishing him. And that was why God was really after him. So to their surprise, nothing happened to Paul. Because actually Paul did not know that the snake was poisonous. You see that statement that we usually like, the statement that say, what you don't know will not kill you. So Paul didn't know that. So after he shook the hand above the fire and the snake fell into the fire, he went back to his normal things and he continued with his work. So they waited for 1 hour, the second hour, and nothing happened. So all that news spread all across the island. There was someone that had been bitten by a poisonous snake and he did not die. So there was this young man, the one that was the leader in that field, in that community, that island. The island actually is called Motel. So the leader of Motel wanted to meet this person that was bit by a snake and did not die. So Paul was taken to Publius. Publius was the one in charge of the island. So Paul met with Publius, and Publius wanted to find out how Paul managed to survive that bite. And Paul told him that his God saved him, and that his God is great, his God is supreme, his God is all powerful. So because of that, Publius wanted to worship Paul's God. everybody in that island was saved because of Paul. The soldiers started even calling Paul God. The one that they were saying was a murderer, now they changed their version and called Paul God. So, but amid all that, Publius had something that was disturbing him. So when Paul found out that his Publius' father was sick and this thing was really breaking Publius, Paul decided to heal Publius' father. So the same hand that was beaten by a the same hand that was beaten by a snake was the same hand that healed Publius' father. So Paul went ahead, healed Publius' father, and he was healed. And he prayed for him, and the guy was healed. So the next day, he continued. So the next morning, Publius helped them with another ship, and Paul was actually transported to Caesar. So the moral of the story is that whatever you've got left is the only thing that you need to reach to or to fulfill your goal. Because after the ship was shipwrecked, or after the water had filled the boat, they had nothing. The food was drained, their belongings were drained, they had nothing. And actually the ship hit a rock and it was shipwrecked. So what they got left, those pieces of wood, was what they needed to reach to their goal, to reach to the island, for their lives to be saved. So don't be intimidated by whatever you've lost, those friends, everything, those disappointment. Don't be intimidated by those for you to quit. Don't let them push you into quitting. Whatever you've got left is the only thing that you need. Number 2 is be driven by what you believe in. Don't be driven by what you can see with your physical eye. Paul was strengthened by the angel's words that amid everything that was going on, he was going to stand in front of Caesar. So he did not let anything distract him. The snake bite, it didn't distract him. When the ship was shipwrecked, he didn't quit, because he knew when God says yes, no one can say no. So even if whatever you can see with your physical eyes is opposite of what you believe in, just trust with what you believe in. Let that force drive you. Number 2 is trust in God. Trust in God. Put your faith unto God, and He will guide your way into your destiny, into fulfilling your goal. That's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed the story. And if you've learned something from this story, please leave a comment. Goodbye.